What is up, everybody? Pack here, and this video, this idea actually is brought up by G-John on the comment section of my last video. He suggested that I do the top 10 worst units in Brave Frontier. These units, I believe, are the bottom of the barrel, and some of the qualifiers are: one are Omni only, one is Omni only, two is they have to be bad. They have to be either old or new. They have to be bad. Now, this doesn't include like units that, like Ushi says are bad, or some other big Brave Frontier YouTuber says are bad. But these are the ones that are generally frowned upon by pretty much everybody, and ones that nobody really likes or nobody really uses as much. So obviously, no things like no Fadal, no Totetsu. We're not getting into those units. We're like no Ziz. We're not getting into those units. Okay. This is Omni only, and this is the worst of the worst. So starting off at number 10, mentioned him in the last video. Not in the last video, but mentioned him a couple videos ago, and I'm mentioning him again. It's Cotton. Now, I only say he's bad is because one, he had a very difficult extra skill sphere to get. And the reward for that was not the best. And obviously his later skill affects only genderless units. So unless you're running a team full of the fallen gods from the strategy zones, there's no point in using this leader skill. And again, his buffs are very weak. It's only like Spark Critical, Spark restores HP, Spark Vulnerability. There's a lot of Spark Vulnerability, but not a lot of real damage backing that up. There's no there's no real meat and bones to what he does. Now, that's all I've got to say for him, because I think a lot has been said. His design is cool. His inception was really cool, but the way Gumi just did it isn't really the best. So that's all for my boy, my sad little could have been good once maybe, but is not. Cotton. Now, moving on to number 9 is Taser. Now, Taser isn't... Okay, when he first came out, I got really, really happy because I had a Taser. And I'm like, hey, he could be pretty good. I think I posted something up on Twitter like a couple years ago where I said, I take back all the stuff I said about Omni Taser. Well, I'm doing that again. Again, he does Spark boost, Spark Critical, boost own Spark damage, boost own attack, boost own BB gauge to max. I mean, I see why there's a boost own BB gauge to max, and I see why that happens. But you could at least have Spark damage to everybody else on the SBB and a boost to attack to everybody on the SBB. But that doesn't really help because his SPs aren't even that great as well. He does boost elemental damage and boost critical damage when he only is set up for spark damage. That's pretty bad, but he's still usable in certain contents, like if you're maybe running Sea of Trees and you don't have a good spark buffer. He's good for that. He's good for that role. But he's not going to be good for that long because his I wouldn't say abysmal, but below average defense makes him incredibly weak. If you get him as a Lord, again, his stats are well-rounded. 8,000 health, 3,000 attack, 2,600 defense, and 2,400 recovery. The 2,600 defense isn't the best because, again, other units on this list actually have better defenses, and even some other units kind of outclass him. Old and new units pretty much outclass Taser by a long shot. Again, I think it's kind of one of these complexes where they thought of a great idea, but they couldn't physically apply it. So that's the sad part. That's the downfall of what could have been a really good unit, but Gumi just couldn't. They couldn't work on the idea enough. So that's all I've got to say about Taser. I'm not going to put him in the ground anymore. Next up is Kalon. Now, Kalon was good. He was good, okay? But then other units, he does BB attack up. But then we have Omni Owen. Omni Owen does spark damage, does crit damage, does elemental weakness damage. He does BB attack. He does everything that Kalon does, But on the Owen does it like 1,000 times better than Kalon here. Also, you have other units out there that have BB attack in the leader skill and in the extra skill, but it's just so much better. Like, or just a random buff. Like, look at Fiona. If you get that updated, if you get that upgrade, you can get 600 boosts to BB attack, and that is insane. Now, that's not to herself. That is to the whole team. That is, if you get the 35 SP, I think it's the 35 SP option, you can get like that extra like 150 boost, and it caps it at 600. And as long as you have all units with breaks attack parameter or something that just raises their attack stat, they're gonna do shit ton of damage. So that's all I've got to say about him. Again, he was kind of built for elemental damage and BB attack. He was alright for a little while, but then things like on the Owen, Maxwell, Arthur kind of in a sense, but not entirely. Arthur pretty much took over the entire meta by doing critical, spark, and BB attack, but in a different way than what Kalon did. So that's all I've got to say about Kalon. He was good, but then he got dethroned by a lot of other more recent units. So you're really not going to see him used a lot anymore, but that's all I've got to say about him. Next up is Sergei, and Sergei is... Okay, this is the only time I'm going to agree with Ushi in that he is not... Well, Sergei is not really, really good. Sergei is garbage. Okay, Sergei is abysmal. His defense is just abysmal. It's 2,500 defense. But he does have a decent attack stat, but if you get that as breaker, his defense drops even lower. Doesn't make him worth it. And again, he has mediocre imp boosts to all but attack. He has 25 imps for recovery, 20 imps for defense, 40 imps for attack, and 25 for HP. I'm only seeing the imp numbers because I keep getting myself confused with how many, with the parameter increases of the imps. So I'm just going to say the number of imps. And remember that HP imps do 50, and attack, defense, and recoveries only do 20 each imp. So I'm just making that known so I don't get like any weird crap. And also, he has a very strange BB gauge fill effect. It's 7 BCs after 30,000 damage. And that should never happen unless you're running a very bad team or unless you're a free-to-play player and this is the best you've got. But usually you won't get anything under 5,000 damage. Like, again, other units have, like, does this when damage has exceeded 5,000. Like, that's normal. Or 10,000, that's normal. But 30,000, that is far beyond the normal amount of damage you'll be doing or be getting dealt. Unless you have Angel Idol buff and you just like tank a one-hit kill and you live on like your Angel Idol. That's the only way I can see that working, but I don't think that's a very good leader skill at all. Again, 80% boost to attack, 40% boost to max HP. Not bad, but a lot of units now are starting to do more like 80 to all parameters, and you know, it just... It's not bad, it's not good. He's kind of in the middle, but, you know, this isn't like a rank from the absolute shittiest to the worst. This is just kind of, well, if it was a ranking from the shittiest to the more borderline unit, then the number 1 unit wouldn't be at number 1. So this is just the 10 units in general that I find to be the worst. And Sergei, managed to hit the list. And next up is from the King of Fighters King of Fighters collaboration, Iori. Now, Iori isn't... He has a Kalon complex. He's not overtly bad. He's not overtly good. Now, I can tell you this right now. Defense is abysmal like Sergei's. 2,500 defense for almost all around the board, unless you're talking about Oracle and Breaker, which it hits about 2.2 thousand, and on Guardian, even then, it only hits about 2.8 thousand, and a lot of more recent units have in the 3,000s to 3,000 like 500. range of defense or just stats in general, and they have like a very well-rounded set of a very well-rounded set of stats in general. But this is just really, really bad. Now he tries to do Callan's job, but he does it badly. He tries doing boost BB attack stuff, but he just can't do it. The only good thing about him, really, and this is why his only one saving grace is why he's like what, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His saving grace is that he's just on number 6, but his saving grace is that he has enormously boost BB attack by 600%, but he does boost on attack for 3 turns. And where is that? Where's the next thing? Enormously boosts fire and dark elemental damage for 3 turns. So that right there, all on its own, fire and dark elemental damage is not great. But it saves him because there's some really good fire units out there right now. There's Blaze, there's Natsu, there's a couple other units I think, and then you got Xion, who can who can help benefit from this very well. But you'd probably just opt for using Xion's UBB. But he doesn't give, I don't think he does 600 BB attack and 400% to fire and dark elemental damage and 50 BC fill. The only thing that would make him better is if, what is that? The only thing that would really make him like super better is if he had OD fill rate or OD fill by half on UBB. Then he'd be decent, but not great. He would still be on the borderline, but he'd be farther up on the chart for me. He'd probably be at number 4 if he just had like fills overdrive by half or fills overdrive by 45 or 25 or something. Something that would have just gotten the OD gauge refilled would have made it. He would have made it on number 4, but he doesn't really quite hit it, and that's sad. And he was another great concept for a unit, but just didn't really land it. So that's all for Iori. Now, this next part, okay, before anybody gets mad at me for saying this, I'm not saying this because he's a bad unit. I'm saying this because I got him, and I see no real practical purpose for him. And this is Leo Whitefang. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna get mad with me, but Reysus does it better. Reysus does it far better. I'm actually gonna pull up Reysus's crap right now and show you how good. I can't spell his name. If I could spell his name, I would get him up on here right now. And what I mean by Reysus does this job 1,000 times better, well, probably not just 1,000 times better, but way better than Leo Whitefang, is not only does Leo Whitefang do, well, Leo Whitefang has 60% boost to attack, defense, and max HP. Considerably boosts attack defense when HP is over 50. Raises normal hit amount, slight damage reduction to 1 when damage has exceeded 20,000. Reysus, on the other hand, has 60% boost to all parameters, raises hit count, negates elemental damage, and boosts OD gauge fill rate by 20%. Now, practically the same thing. Now, the only thing... Wait, where is that? Okay, so you get an 80% boost to attack defense when your HP is over 50. It's not going to be great because, again, decent defense. He has decent defense. I'm not gonna shit on him for that. He has very good defense. But if they just didn't invest so much into his attack imps that it made his defense and recovery imps so low, and Reysus kind of has the upper hand because he has what I call the even spread, because he has 1500 health, 600 attack, defense, and recovery for imps. This is what we're talking about for imps. But Leo Whitefang is kind of built trying to be like that nuker. He's trying to hit that nuker spot. But as you know, in my Zhaijing trial, if anybody was on during the time I did the Zhaijing trial, you will know that Reysus did so much damage. I had to be careful with that guy because Reysus does so much damage. If you just normal attack with Raysus after using his BB and SBB with Anil and Arthur, he does, I'm not even joking, he does about 13 to 10% on Zai That is not where you want to be when you're fighting a very threshold based unit like Zai, because you get knocked out so quickly. Now that's when using all three of them, but if you just use Raysus, you do about like 4 to 5%. Now the whole 13 to 10% is if you use Anil, Raysus, and Arthur. You could even drop it, I think, way more than that. I'm just kind of making up what I saw because I was like trying not to die, and I was like really getting hyped because it was like the last fucking fight. It was like the last 50%, and I was like almost done with it. I'm like, let's just get this over with. And yeah, so Raysus does a shit ton of damage, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Raysus does a ton of damage, especially when you equip him. Now, if you saw me do the whole damage test with Leo and Baiken, you know that of the two units, Baiken is my favorite, Leo is my least favorite. I'm gonna go on for a little bit here because this segment right here where Leo is on the list is gonna be the area where I see I could get the most problems in. I would have put him lower on the list, yeah, I know, but again, this is not from like the shittiest to borderline. This is just all the units that I think are very bad. So it's not like I don't like Leo Whitefang. He's a very good character, and he adds 2 to each hit amount on his extra skill when Raysus only does 1. That's really good, but again, there's not a lot of power backing that. There's not. Yeah, you get the attack and defense when HP is over 50, but with Raysus, it's relative to remaining HP, so you get a percentage based on how much you have left. And his HP, if you get him in Anima, is 9,300, same as Leo Whitefang, but you get an even spread of imps, which makes it more. Now, between the imps on HP, you get about, what, for regular level, for regular just Omni, you just evolve them. There's a 250 imp difference from Raysus to Leo Whitefang. Again, Leo Whitefang and Raysus's skill sets, their skill sets are pretty much the exact same. It follows kind of that Savia standard of normal hit nuker. But the only thing I have to say that Leo has that Raysus doesn't is raise his attack parameter to 150,000, where Raysus has 130,000. But Leo Whitefang doesn't have an SP option to raise his normal hit amount for, just +1. But he does boost the damage of the hit amount. And again, it is weird to pick between the two, but if you set Leo up correctly, if you really did set him up correctly, you could do a ton of damage. And like if you set up Raysus incorrectly, you could do less damage. But I'm saying is, out of the two, I think Raysus is better because he has a bit more utility. Now, it doesn't mean that Leo Whitefang is bad. It just means that I don't personally like him. So that's all that means. And that's all I have for Leo Whitefang. That's all for that rant I had on that guy. And next up is Phyllis. And, geez, when I say outclassed unit, I mean it no more than when we're talking about Phyllis and pretty much every other BB gauge buffer out there. Okay, I'm just going to say 2 units that do Phyllis's job a hell of a lot better. Claria and Lily Mata. They do Phyllis's job 1,000 times better. And with Lily Mata, you get OD gauge fill rate. So at the end of the day, you'd probably want to pick a Lily Mata, even though she doesn't attack. you would want to pick Lily Mata because she has OD gauge fill rate, she has BB gauge when damaged, BB gauge on spark, and BB gauge when hit, I think. Claria, she heals. And I know here, I think there's like an SP somewhere that you can get the heal or something. Yeah, considerable heal during spark. But the problem is, the real problem is, with Claria, it's not, I don't think Claria has that on SP option. I think it's just built into her kit that she has an auto heal. As she has, like, when you use, like, the BB or SBB, she has just an automatic heal that goes right into effect. It's not like you have to be in Spark when this happens to be able to heal. And that's also another reason why I kind of prefer units that don't have heal on Spark, because sometimes it can be difficult, but sometimes it can be really easy. If you have very slow, kind of choppy animation units, it's going to take a lot more to Spark. Like if you have Azurai, for example. It's hard to find the exact timing for Azurai. Oh, Azurai and Sirius. Azurai on BB, SBB, and UBB, and normal attack, and Sirius for, I think, is UBB. There's like a little delay that happens between when the unit goes from standing still into the attack animation, but even then there's still a bit of delay before the actual effect goes through where it shows like the hits registering. So trying to align that all up correctly is just gonna be crazy. So that's why I kind of stopped using Felis for a while. I still have my Felis, I think, but I don't use her as much unless it's like a lower content thing that I can just like throw together a team and just, you know, run off and go. But again, not much to say about Felis. She just has a very, she's again very borderline. She's not like too good or too bad. So that's the next thing. So number 3, and I know some people might hate me for this, again, is Elza. Now, it's kind of like a Leah Whitefang situation where I don't think she's bad. I think she's just outclassed. She gets outclassed by, surprisingly, I think she gets outclassed by Zalvard, by, what's-his-face, Dirk Rizzo, and I don't think Dirk Rizzo. I don't know. I have not tried my Dirk Rizzo out yet. I have not tried, what is that? I have not tried Dirk Rizzo or Miso Dorte yet. So they could be better, but another unit that again is rather better than this is like Xion and Sheeta. And well, again, I can't really say how many units there are that just outclass other units, because half the time I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like in, you know, all these other Brave Frontier videos, I have barely any idea what I'm talking about. So again, a very borderline unit, not bad because she has heal over time, and not a lot of units nowadays have that. Nowadays, we just kind of get DOT mitigation, and it's like, deal with it. We don't really get a heal over time. So seeing that, well, for like the start, for the entire start of the game, I wanted to have Elza because she had heal over time, and I thought that was like the best thing ever, because it's like, oh, I heal like each and every turn. And I get her, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I used her for like a couple. You go back in my old videos, you can see me using Elza and me using Alice and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. And later on, I'm like, this isn't that great because I've got better units. So she's not bad. She's again kind of a kind of split between a BB, like a spark damage dealer, a BC efficiency unit, and a status infliction unit. Again, I think Zelha works better even without BC efficiency. I think Zelha does not have BC efficiency, but as a status inflictor, Zelha, Sei, and like Zaijing and Zvaldova kind of work a little bit better. Oh, and Johnny. I can't forget fucking Johnny. Johnny works pretty well. Again, pairing them up with a powerful fire unit that does like boosts something for fire types, because Johnny kind of needs that bit of assistance. Now, he's not on the list, not because, you know, I'm kind of biased, you know, towards all these units. No, It's not because of that. It's because Johnny actually did a decent amount of damage when I put him through a damage test. When I put all these other units through a damage test, they didn't do that well, or they didn't do as well as I would think. So again, Elza, she's not bad. She's not fated for failure, but she's just unused as of recently. And she pretty much kind of has the same leader skill setup as Sergei. But Sergei's leader skill is worse than Elza's, because Elza at least has BC efficiency, which makes BC's cost, which makes one BC worth more when filling up a BB gauge. So she's not bad, and that's all. And now we get to what I think these two are probably some of the worst, but not, well, okay. Number 2 is not terrible. It's just Gumi didn't know what the fuck they were thinking when they put this unit out. And this is Il-Malakat. Il-Malakat was kind of a mystery when it came out, because we had no fucking clue. Like, we thought it was going to be some other Galadon unit that wasn't Il-Malakat. Now, okay. If you do elemental damage, like if you do reduction to elemental damage, like 2 elements on your leader skill, do them all or do none of them. Again, it's like Il-Malakat and Numine and a bunch of other units. They don't do that. They only do like 3 or 4 elements. Well, Fang does 4 elements, but she's actually pretty decent. But units like some of the more recent Galadon units that only do 3 elemental damage reductions, Il-Malakat does fire, earth, and dark by 10%. That is not great. That is not good. That is not really anything, because again, you get Alzamaster, you got Alan, you got Regil, you've got Luke Roar, that all do like 15-20% all elemental reduction. And it's done better by those units than this unit, because again, BB attack, you get that from Regil. Pretty much this is trying to be like a fire Regil, but really sucked at it. It really sucked at it. So what I'm saying right now is Il-Malakat was really kind of a mistake on Gumi's part, because I did summon I summoned like 12 times and got my Il-Malakat pretty quickly. I wanted to test Il-Malakat out, and then I tested it, and I quickly thought, this is a bad idea. I originally thought, this is a great idea. I'm going to test the damage. I'm going to upload a video. I'm going to see how good Il-Malakat is. And then I had like a quick switch of thought. I'm like, no, this is a very bad idea, because Il-Malakat does not do a lot. Again, it's only like DOT mitigation, elemental mitigation, which DOT mitigation is not bad, but Sigurd, I think Alan and Capratum do that way better. They do that way better. And with elemental mitigation, Alzamasta does it 1,000 times better. Alzamasta does it by far the best. Okay, again, I hate to keep bringing Alzamasta up, but Alzamasta in almost every content is exactly what we think of, almost like the quintessential perfect unit. Elemental mitigation, buffs. Il-Malakat tries to recreate that, but he can't really do it. I guess we could say it's kind of like a Koyak mixture in there, because it wants to be good, but it can't be good. And at the end of the day, it's not that Il-Malakat is like tremendously bad. It's just that Il-Malakat isn't the best unit to use if you're trying to have a decent, decent fire buffer, or decent just elemental buffer in general, or DOT buffer. You probably get one of those other units, and you'll see that your jobs get done 1,000 times better, because again, they were kind of built to have that stuff. Like, I think with Sigurd, I think he has critical negation, elemental weakness damage negation, and spark negation. Yeah, he has all 3 of those, and I think if you pair him up with Alan, he has elemental mitigation and DOT mitigation. So my verdict, my real final verdict on Il Malakat, not great, not bad. Really the bottom of borderline. Really, it's really the bottom of the borderline list that I'm kind of like theorizing in my head right now. So next up is the one that the cheater used, the real cheater that we know on, Battle Royale used, and that's fucking Vargas. Now, there's obviously you're gonna say like there's 1,000 other units that are bad out there. Why'd you pick this one in particular? Avant does its job better. Avant does its job. Surprisingly, Calon does Vargas's job better. And I said he was probably one of the worst at the time. Well, one of the worst now, but at the time when he came out, he was really fucking powerful. Now, I say that with kind of a grain of salt now, because Calon, not going back on it, was actually a very good BB attack buffer. He had one of the highest in the game, I think. He had about like 450, I think, which was, again, the biggest in the game. But when you go to Vargas, he only has like 300. He has 300, and he, again, a lot of units do it better. And again, he's kind of greedy on attack imps and doesn't really leave much for defense and recovery. Now, again, put him so low on the list, not because it's that I just don't like Vargas, and it's not that, because some hacker used a Vargas to get 999,999,999 points on Battle Royale, leading him to the top 1,000, which we're going to be getting the awards for, and I really do hope that in that regard, that those guys who did get like 999,999,999 points get banned. Okay, guys like Hex, who originally did it and got like 2.4, 2.3 million, he didn't deserve to get banned. It's just that these other guys that forcibly inject their codes into the game that make that score show up, that you physically make that thing pop up on the screen saying that they got this incredibly long number as a score, is highly illegitimate, because I went on there 4 or 5 other times on my own accord and got nothing in the regards of higher scores. In fact, I scored lower when I brought my other mono fire team. I brought my Natsu lead and all my other fire units. I got less points than what I got the first time. Then when I went in there again, I got more points. Then I went there again and I got less points. So there was really some kind of weird favoritism going on in the scoring systems. So I don't know what, or I don't know if that these guys that get like all these insanely high scores are part of like the content creators program, and they go like, hey, could you just do this, and Gumi fucking does it for some fucking reason. Again, I don't know why they do this. I mean, again, Vargas isn't that great. Again, it's just borderline. It's okay at this point. Vargas isn't really borderline. He's at the end. He's at the end of the plank. Really, he's at the end of this figurative pirate ship's plank. His skill set is all right. His stats abysmal. Even comparing it to Atro and all these other starter units, he's the worst. Selena at least still had some prevalence in Colosseum because she had Angel Idol and she was really good at doing it. Atro still had some use as a healer up until now, which we have better healers. Lance didn't really see much use. Eze was still a very good spark buffer and a Mifune replacement, if you will. Magris was again another 2-turn mitigator. He was a rather decent mitigator for the time, before like Hisui and before all these other units came out. Magris was actually very, 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 very decent of a unit to have. But again, you had other units out there. You had other mitigators at the 7 stars time, at the Omni time. Darvinshall did Omni Magris's job better. So that just goes to show you that some units aren't really the best and some aren't really the worst. Again, not really the best, not really the worst on these top 10 units here. But out of all of them, the worst ones are Vargas, Cotton, and Alakat. They all try to do another unit's job, but they all really, really, really fail at it. I'm not saying that because I am biased. I'm not saying that because I am, leaning one way or the other regarding this. But I'm saying this because it's kind of true. It's just that when you think about it, if you sit down and really think about it, there are other units out there that just get their jobs done better, and sometimes even kind of break the meta. Look at Arthur, look at Beatrix, look at any doublecaster, look at Ravia. They do their jobs better because they have more buffs, they have more skills, and they have more power. At the end of the day, these top 10 units, some of them are bad, some of them are borderline, some of them aren't really the greatest. So, that being said, guys, that is all for now. That is the top 10 worst units that I think exist in Brave Frontier at the moment. And thank you, G. John, for giving me this idea. Again, if you want to, try to support anything on the channel here, I will leave it in the comments down below. I'll leave, not comments, but the description down below. Again, if you support the channel, the donations are not only just going to go into supporting me as a person, but to me as a content creator. I'll give you more content. I'll give you more stuff. I'll, diversify all the stuff. I'll maybe start doing more other games that might interest some people out there. So again, if you have any games that you want me to do, leave them either down in the comments below, in the Q&A section on the Discord, or just leave them for me in the discussion channel or the discussion section on my channel. Irregardless, guys, everything you do really helps, and I do thank you all for 79 subscribers. Now, I know that's kind of a weird milestone. It's because I'm kind of like teetering on that borderline of 80. I know it's kind of weird for me to say that, but thank you all for your support, your continued support on not only my live streams, not only my stupid antics on Brave Frontier, but just in general. Thank you guys so very much for my incredibly stupid and boring content on all this stuff. So I really can't thank you all enough. I know I'm kind of being repetitive now, guys, but you don't have to do anything. You don't have to donate or stuff. You can do what you want, but I'm just saying it's there to support me and to support this platform where I can stop having that fucking lamp shine. I mean, that glare is the only thing that kills 99% of my videos, is that if my lamp either blows or goes out, my videos are fucked. So we're gonna start a hashtag get pack a new lamp or some shit like that. Oh my god. So that being said, guys, another video will be coming out tomorrow. I'm probably gonna stop with daily upload. Well, no. Oh no. Oh my god, the 14th. The 14th. I'm gonna wait for them because that is gonna be a great time, guys. I'm gonna start a different tradition here now. You know how I have the Halloween videos that I barely did any, and now we're entering that Christmas season. I'm gonna give you 12 days of the shittiest things that I can do. Okay, whether it be like sticking fingers in a mousetrap, or playing Ride to Hell or Big Rigs, or some really shitty stuff. So again, leave anything you got that's super shitty or a decent game down in the comments below, guys, or just leave it in the Q&A on the Discord. I'm just gonna shut up now. With that being said, guys, Pack here. Hope you all have a great day, and thank you all for your continued support. 79 subscribers, guys. Thank you all. See you all in the next video. Have a good one.